Fantasy football is beginning to become America's new favorite hobby for all generations. It provides individuals who participate with fulfillment when they are successful and grief when they are unsuccessful. Furthermore, it provides the average Joe of America to feel a connection with the talented NFL athletes that play in our great country. I will be informing you all on fantasy football, which is currently being played by every age group in America right now. I am credible to inform you all about the concept of fantasy football from 3 years of personal experience and the amount of research I've done. The understanding of what fantasy football is about will provide you with the reason as to why people choose to play the game. The first thing people must understand to play the game is the draft. After the draft is over, it is crucial that you as an owner must maintain your team. Thirdly, it is important to understand the entertainment it provides and what the economy gets out of it. I will now begin to inform you about the initial process of fantasy football, the draft. The draft is where a fantasy owner chooses players from the NFL to be on his or her team for the season. The first type of draft is called the snake draft. The snake draft is a simple concept of drafting players in the order in which position you are in during the draft, from top to bottom, and then bottom to top, from person to person, with this cycle repeating in a snake formation. The best players in the NFL are typically and logically drafted first due to the fact that they will produce the most points for your team and allow you the best chance of winning. It is important to be knowledgeable of player productivity before draft day so that you will know who to draft for your team. Yahoo.com, ESPN, and several other websites offer mock drafts so you can get a feel and practice on who you want to draft for your team. A mock draft is a simulation of a real draft, but not a real one with random people around the world. It's just to get a practice and feel for what you want to do. The second type of draft is called the auction draft. During an auction draft, each team owner has a certain amount of points to bid on players and must bid wisely so that he or she still has enough points to bid on other players for his team. An auction draft is typically for the more experienced football fantasy owner, according to NFL.com, and requires more intellect and skill. Now that I have established the two types of drafts, I will begin to inform you on the importance of maintaining your fantasy football team. Maintaining and keeping up with your fantasy football team is a must in the success of your team. According to Mark Sigmore, a writer for Fantasy Football for Dummies, you have to be proactive and manage your team each week if you want to win. Injuries often occur in the brutal sport of football. Therefore, being an owner of a player, you have to know whenever your players are injured so you can substitute them out and still earn points to win them during the week. Bye weeks also occur in the NFL. When certain players are on your team, you do not have to play, and it is also important to substitute your players out to earn points. Free agency in fantasy football is crucial to keep an eye on as well. A lot of times, players are underrated before the season starts and go unnoticed. In these times, it is important that you as an owner go add these players to your team and drop the players who are not being as productive as you expected. The final aspect of managing your fantasy football team is trading your players for players of other teams. However, when trading your players with other owners in your league, it is important that you make beneficial trades and smart trades that will induce a more successful season. I will now move into the entertainment and prosperity that may come along with playing fantasy football. The world of fantasy football has grown rapidly due to the entertainment and economical prosperity provided by it. According to Sienna Smith, an expert business analysis for Fox Business, the intense competition of fantasy football generates over $1 billion through cable deals, advertisements, and other endorsements annually. Fantasy football has been around since 1962, but is now at an all-time high. It is estimated that there are over 34 million fantasy owners right now around the world. To be a fantasy football owner does not necessarily require the act of gambling on your team to win money. You can simply play for fun if you want to. Playing for money is optional and totally up to the individual person. Generally speaking, for most leagues that do play for money, only 20% of the people that do play actually win money. The amount of money that they win is all up to the amount of money the league decides to play for. On YahooFantasyFootball.com, the pro leagues that cost money to play in, they have buy-ins from $20 where you can win $100, or they have buy-ins of $100 where you can win up to $500. Now that you are all informed on the concept of fantasy football, I will make my final statements. In conclusion, fantasy football is a growing pastime of the world and great for the stimulation of our economy. I hope you all now have a better understanding of the draft, maintenance, and entertainment that fantasy football is bringing to the people around the world. Fantasy football is a simple concept, and more people need to know about it to spread the entertainment that it brings. Thank you.